What's going on, guys? Some of you have been asking, how do you chart for the ICT Silver Bullet New York session? So I'm going to show you right here what I do. We'll take today as an example. So you would basically mark out the 11 o'clock and the 10 o'clock time frames. So the ICT Silver Bullet says that between those times, there's going to be a fair value gap that's going to form that will serve to let the market hit its initial objective during that time frame. So if we look here, what I'm seeing, and this is always easy in hindsight, but this happens every day and you're able to catch the moves when they happen in real time. We have a raid that occurs at this location. So this is where the liquidity is grabbed, and if you have more markings on your chart, this is a previous week opening gap or the new week opening gap, I believe. So it makes sense that this area would be a reversal zone. So you have a raid, you also have the break of structure that occurs here. So this is the most recent swing high. And then what are we looking for? We're looking for displacement during that break of structure after the raid or grab of liquidity is done. And we have a fair value gap that is forming. It's not letting me draw it. A fair value gap over here. And you see that the market retests this area and then bounces back out. And you also have a fair value gap that formed on the second bounce out. You have one here. And then in these two examples, those are two entries that you could take between 10 and 11. The first trade would be anywhere, preferably on the 50 fib of this move. You would get in long at this location or better, and you could do the optimal trade entry, which I think is 62.5 retracement, but I feel like I missed too many trades on 62.5, so I'm happy with 50 fib. And then you would target a higher liquidity area. You have a 1 for 2 on this trade here if you're not pushing it too much, and you see that that is a winning trade. And if you miss that one, you have this one here that did not come back to 50 fib on the displacement arm. So the real trade in this scenario would have been this one. And you have a beautiful 1 for 2 with the ICT parameters. And I tend to aim for 1 to 2 risk reward. I've been measuring this strategy for a while now, and I'll share my stats with you later. So please make sure that you like the video and subscribe if you want to see my backtesting results for the Silver Bullet strategy and the main strategy that I'm also using to trade. When you go for 1 to 2 risk reward, you almost hit that target. Like, if the trade is in your favor, you're going to hit that target most likely. You would take a partial at a key liquidity point or at 1 to 1, and then 1 to 2 very often gets hit. 1 to 3 a little less often. I would say maybe 30% of the time. It's still a good win rate at 1 to 3. And then 1 to 4 and plus is a stretch, but it does happen, and there are strategies to try to capture that entire move if it does occur. But I've been most successful, and you'll hear this from other YouTubers that are ICT traders, is 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5 seems to be the ideal sweet spot for risk to reward ratios on any ICT strategy. If we look at the previous day and we chart in TradingView the same way that we did for today, I'm going to chart up the 11 o'clock time, the 10 o'clock time, and then what do we notice in here is you have a higher time frame liquidity grab that was done over here, so the market's going to be bearish starting from here. So once it's in here, you actually have a confirmation that you're in premium for a short on your 50 fib. And here, as you can see, there's a fair value gap that forms, bearish fair value gap with strong displacement in this area here. And then I don't think we get a 50 fib entry on this leg, but the rule of thumb is ideal entry is 50%, optimal trade entry is 62.5, but in reality it's just because you're trying to capture the trade at the optimal location, but it's still going to be a winning trade if it hits the fair value gap anywhere in it, if it hits the middle of it, if it hits the top of it. So if you don't want to miss that trade, you're going to have to, take a little bit of risk on yourself and get in when the fair value gap is actually being hit multiple times and tested. So this would be your trade for, if you take the middle of this fair value gap, this would be your swing high. The market would not go back there. And over here, if you look in this area, this would be your target for a take profit. And as you see, it did exactly that. You almost have a 1 to 2 risk reward, 1.84. And again, this is your ICT Silver Bullet setup for yesterday, Wednesday, May 10th, between 10 and 11 a.m. If we look at a last example here, I'm going to chart up 10 to 11. This is a little more choppy, okay? But ICT says that these occur every day, even in choppy conditions. So what do we see on this chart? Well, we see that there's a liquidity grab over here, so that would be your raid, and then you would look for a break in structure. So you have a swing high, you have a swing low over here, but the fair value gap formed before the 10 o'clock mark. So you can get a second entry when you see those swing highs, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high. Oh, you've got something going on here. You can chart up your fair value gap, and you see that it gets tested multiple times over here. This would be your entry. Once it hits the fair value gap, it's not going to try to reclaim this low, because this low wiped out a bunch of lows before and took liquidity. So the liquidity that needs to be taken is upward at this point. And then you would target at a minimum this zone over here. And in this situation, you have a 1 to 3 that occurs over here. There you are. So this is the ICT Silver Bullet setup for the AM session for the past 3 days. And I invite you to backtest these, and ICT says you can backtest this every single day it occurs in that time frame. The benefits of trading the Silver Bullet is that you don't have to be in front of your computer all day. Once you know where your important structures are at, like your raid, so your grab, your liquidity grab, they happen in chronological or sequential order. So you would, you could set an alert when, for example, this level is hit. You set an alert, then you get it on your chart, you get it on your phone. I get the alerts on my smartwatch as well. So nothing's going to happen before this occurs. Then what's step 2? Step 2 is you need to be in the Silver Bullet trading hours, which are 10 to 11. So then you get in front of your computer at 10 and you start looking for setups. And then you understand that there's a break of structure that needs to occur. So what could happen is that you know that this is your most recent swing high, for example. I'm going to take this one as an example. So you could set your second alert at this level here. So nothing's going to be done before this second alert occurs. So you're waiting for displacement and break of structure, and then it's game time. Then this is where the magic happens, and you're only spending time for your setup only for a few minutes. And then once you're in, I like to take my trades with a 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5, and I don't move my stop loss. I let the TP get hit. So the outcome of the trade is either take profit at 2 or 2.5, or a stop loss at 1% or 1R, for example. So in reality, you know, you had your alert at 9:31 in the morning after market open. You start looking at the charts at 10. You realize that your break of structure occurs at 10:18, 10:17, and then it's game time, and then at 11:19 you're out of the market. So you're not spending a lot of time in front of the charts because you're focusing on this window here. There's also the 2 to 3 p.m. window. That is a valid one for the ICT Silver Bullet, but I tend to focus more on the morning ones. And if ever I can't find a setup in the morning, then I'll start looking at the 2 to 3 p.m. Silver Bullet zones as well. And we're looking for exactly the same thing. They may be in the other direction, but we're looking for the same setup that we've just illustrated in this video here. So I hope this helped you guys out. If you guys found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.